Hello everyone! Today in this video we are going to list the top 10 most powerful countries in terms of military. Military equipments which are in active service are only mentioned in the video. Let's get started. Number 10. Pakistan. The Pakistani Armed Forces currently has around 650,000 active military personnel. Its defense budget is around $11 billion. Now coming to land power, the Pakistani Armed Forces currently operates 2,700 plus tanks, over 3,000 infantry fighting vehicles, 650 plus self-propelled artillery, and over 560 multiple launch rocket systems. Air power. The Pakistani Armed Forces currently operates around 1,370 total aircraft, of which around 260 plus are multi-role fighters and over 330 are helicopters. F-16 and JF-17 currently are its main multi-role fighter jets. Naval power. The Pakistani Navy currently operates around 110 total ships. Its naval fleet currently includes 8 frigates, 2 corvettes, 5 submarines. Number 9. Turkey. The Turkish Armed Forces currently has around 355,000 active military personnel, and its defense budget is around $22 billion. Now coming to land power, the Turkish Armed Forces currently has 2,800 plus main battle tanks, 2,850 plus infantry fighting vehicles, 900 plus self-propelled artillery, and 400 plus multiple launch rocket systems. Air power. The Turkish Armed Forces currently has around 1,100 aircraft, of which around 245 are fighter jets and approximately 480 are helicopters. Currently, F-16 is the only main multi-role fighter jet of Turkish Armed Forces. Naval power. The Turkish Navy currently operates around 150 total ships. Its current naval fleet includes 16 frigates, 10 corvettes, 12 submarines. Number 8. United Kingdom. The British Armed Forces currently has around 153,000 active military personnel, and its defense budget is around $58 billion. Now, coming to land power, the British Armed Forces has 227 main battle tanks, 1,500 plus infantry fighting vehicles, 89 self-propelled artillery, and 44 multiple launch rocket systems. Air power. The British Armed Forces currently has 830 plus military aircraft, of which 170 plus are multi-role fighters, and around 300 are helicopters. Stealth F-35 Lightning II and Eurofighter Typhoons are the main fighter jets of British Armed Forces. Naval power. The Royal Navy currently has 87 total ships. Its naval fleet currently includes 2 aircraft carriers, 6 destroyers, 13 frigates, 11 nuclear-powered submarines. Number 7. France. The French Armed Forces currently has around 200,000 active military personnel. Its defense budget is around $48 billion. Now coming to land power, the French Armed Forces currently has 406 main battle tanks, 600 plus infantry fighting vehicles, 109 self-propelled artillery, and 13 MLRS. Air power. The French Armed Forces operates around 1,100 total aircraft, of which 183 are fighter jets and over 430 are helicopters. Dassault Rafale and Mirage 2000C are its main fighter jets. Naval power. The French Navy operates around 180 naval ships. Its current fleet includes 1 nuclear-powered aircraft carrier, 3 helicopter carrier, 11 destroyers, 11 frigates, 10 nuclear-powered submarines. Number 6. South Korea. The South Korea Armed Forces currently has around 555,000 active military personnel. Its military budget is around 46 billion US dollars. Now, coming to land power, the South Korean Armed Forces operates around 2,200 main battle tanks, 2,800 plus infantry fighting vehicles, 3,000 plus self-propelled artillery, and around 560 MLRS. Air power. The South Korean Armed Forces operates around 1,600 total aircraft, out of which 520 plus are fighter jets and 700 plus are helicopters. Stealth F-35 Lightning II, F-15, F-16, Kai T-50 are some of its main fighter jets. Naval power. The South Korean Navy currently operates around 150 total. Its naval fleet includes 2 helicopter carriers, 12 destroyers, 12 frigates, 11 corvettes, 18 submarines. Number 5. Japan. The Japanese Armed Forces currently has around 250,000 active military personnel. Its defense budget is around 50 billion US dollars. Now, coming to land power, the Japanese Armed Forces has 1,000 plus main battle tanks, 68 infantry fighting vehicles, over 210 self-propelled artillery, and 99 MLRS. Air power. The Japanese Armed Forces has approximately 1,400 plus total aircraft, of which around 250 are multi-role fighters and 550 plus are helicopters. F-15, F-2, and Stealth F-35 Lightning II are the main fighter jets of Japan. Naval power. The Japanese Maritime Forces currently has 150 plus total ships. Its naval fleet currently has 1 light aircraft carrier, 2 helicopter carrier, 26 destroyers, 10 frigates, 19 submarines. Number 4. India. The Indian Armed Forces has around 1.4 million active military personnel and is the second largest in the world. Its military budget is around 64 billion US dollars. Now, coming to land power. The Indian Armed Forces currently has around 4,800 active main battle tanks. In addition to this, the Indian Armed Forces currently has around 2,500 infantry fighting vehicles, 100 self-propelled artillery, and over 350 plus multiple launch rocket systems. Air power. The Indian Army currently has around 2,200 total aircraft, of which around 540 plus are multi-role fighters and interceptor, and over 800 are helicopters. Su-30 MKI, Dassault Rafale, Mirage 2000, Hal Tejas, and MiG-29 are the main fighter jets of the Indian Armed Forces. Naval power. At present, the Indian Navy has around 300 total ships, of which around 150 are auxiliary or support ships. Its naval fleet consists of 2 aircraft carriers, 10 destroyers, 13 frigates, 23 corvettes, 20 submarines. Number 3. China. The Chinese Armed Forces currently has around 2 million active personnel and is the largest in the world. Its defense budget is around 210 billion US dollars. Now, coming to land power. The Chinese Armed Forces currently has around 3,600 active main battle tanks, and most of the older tanks are retired from active service and kept in reserve. In addition to this, the Chinese Armed Forces has around 3,500 infantry fighting vehicles, 1,700 plus self-propelled artillery, and over 1,900 multiple launch rocket systems. Air power. The Chinese Armed Forces currently has around 4,000 to 4,500 total aircraft, of which around 1,670 plus are fighter jets and over 1,000 are helicopters. Stealth Fighter J-20, Su-30 MKK, Su-27, Su-35, J-10 are some of the main fighter jets of People's Liberation Army. Naval power. At present, the Chinese Navy has around 750 total ships, of which around 230 plus are auxiliary or support ships. Its naval fleet currently includes 2 aircraft carrier, 2 helicopter carrier, 50 destroyers, 50 frigates, 71 corvettes, 80 submarines. Number 2. Russia. The Russian Armed Forces currently has around 1 million active military personnel, and its defense budget is around $61 billion. Now coming to land power. The Russian Armed Forces currently has around 2,800 active tanks and approximately 15,000 are kept in reserve. It has around 5,200 infantry fighting vehicles, 1,600 plus self-propelled artillery, 1,350 plus multiple launch rocket systems in active service. In addition to this, many equipments are kept in reserve. Air power. The Russian Armed Forces currently has approximately 4,600 total aircraft, of which around 1,200 are fighter jets and over 1,500 are helicopters. Stealth Su-57, Su-35, Su-30, Su-27, MiG-29 are some of the main fighter jets of Russia. Naval power. The Russian Navy has 1 aircraft carrier, 5 cruisers, 12 destroyers, 11 frigates, 78 corvettes, 68 submarines. Number 1. United States. The U.S. Armed Forces currently has around 1.3 active military personnel. Its defense budget is the largest, with around $710 billion. Now coming to land power. The U.S. Armed Forces has around 8,000 Abrams tanks, around 6,700 infantry fighting vehicles, around 850 self-propelled artillery, 1,450 plus multiple launch rocket systems. Air power. The United States Armed Forces currently has 14,000 plus active aircraft, of which 2,750 plus are multi-role fighter jets and over 5,700 are helicopters. At present, stealth fighters F-22 and F-35 Lightning II, F-15, F-18, F-16 are the main fighter jets of the U.S. Armed Forces. Naval power. The U.S. Armed Forces currently has around 490 total ships and is the largest and most powerful navy in the world, with an estimated tonnage of its active battle fleet alone exceeding the next 13 navies combined. The U.S. Navy currently has 11 aircraft carriers, 9 helicopter carriers, 22 guided missile cruisers, 70 destroyers, 21 littoral combat ships or corvettes, 70 plus nuclear-powered submarines. Thanks for watching.